obviously very important to know what you're getting yourself into. But as I was considering applying for this position, I also realized that none of us applying have been AS president before. So in a sense, none of us are bringing the perfect experience in. But I do admit that not having AS experience is a weakness.
I think that if you're going to run an organization, you need to know what the organization is all about. You need to be able to know what kind of problems it's had. So it's important that you've had experience in the organization so that you know how to deal with those problems already.
I actually thought about it for a very long time. Cynthia can attest to that. Almost a month I spent thinking and praying about it before I gave her the official word that I was going to decide to go ahead and go for it. But I think that it's a good opportunity for me. I think I already have a functional working relationship with a lot of Biola administrators, and I think that it would be a job that I could do, that I could enjoy doing, and that I could be effective at. I've already established relationships with a lot of the different departments, and I think I'd be capable of working in. And so that's why I guess I saw it as something that I was capable of and something that I would enjoy doing.
When I started thinking about plans for next year, president was just the obvious option to me because it was a way to continue to serve students and continue to use my qualities. I think I'm really gifted in the areas of administration and organization, and I can just order things and lead well. And that's what I want to do in AS presidency, and I also feel like I have a vision that I'd like to see for the students.
Like I mentioned in our speech, we had the idea of Eagle's Nest office hours, where we are in Eagle's Nest every week during certain hours where we're right in the way of the student body, so we can easily be approached for an idea, question, comment. We're just so much more approachable to the student body that way. And so for active projects, we're able to have a much more functional relationship with the student body. And when there's an area where there's spending going on or something in doubt, the student body is able to approach us and they know where to find us. So I think just making them a lot more active part of the process, I think makes it a lot more of what AS's intention is.
What I would like to do to represent the student voice and how we use the money is getting to know students better, not just through rounds, not just through things we do for senators, but if we could implement a new research strategy or new ways to figure out what students want, I think the more that we find that out, the more we can represent them, the better we can be spending the money so that all of the money that they're paying here to go here would be spent well. There's no possible way I can get to know every single student or have a conversation with every single one. Even as the Bluff senator, that's something I realized is I can't even get to know every single one of them. But I've tried to develop a relationship with as many as I could, and I know that it's important for me to empower the people that are in AS because I think it works from the top down. As I'm empowering the people that I know, the people that I'm working with under AS, they're able to empower and value and get to know the students so that they can represent them when they come to me.
Part of Eagle's Nest office hours, the idea would be that we take time specifically out of our schedule to make time for the students. I mean, it doesn't have to be like half of our schedule out of the week, but I would really value just even taking out of those 25 hours, take 2 hours a week to meet with the students, because I think as someone who's supposed to be the chief representative of the student body, I think that's about as important a work as you're going to get.
Good communication with their constituents, mainly being the senator and then being the vice president, good communication skills with the senators because you will be overseeing them. There will be a need for having the ability to handle conflict within the Senate. Being a vice presidential candidate, you need to be prepared for issues that will arise.
One of the most important things
But you need to create relationships with your constituents. And that's the main place I would like to see improvement within the Senate, where you're building as many relationships as you can. Obviously, with commuters, that's 31% of the student body, well over 1,000 constituents, kind of impossible. But you still need to make that effort to create relationships with people who are going to care about what you're saying, and it's going to translate in when you are listening to their voice and when you bring that back to the Senate. So as the Vice President, I would really encourage my senators to really create relationships.
We can encourage them